Hello everyone, this is Kathy from the Daily Marker, and today I wanted to wrap up the 30-day coloring challenge and just kind of review some of the cards. So this was the project for day one. I did a video on coloring these adorable birds from Tim Holtz, and one of the biggest tricks was if you have two Copic colors that aren't really working for you, you take some of this various ink blending solution, you wet a rag, you pull up the pill, and then you directly apply it to that. And it helps the colors work together a little bit more. You don't have to work so hard at blending them, because these are like three totally different colors, and look how it all came together. Plus it adds like some texture and stuff. So I haven't finished this yet. That was day one, and I did do a video. This was day two, and I have a video on this as well. This was so much fun. I took this roll of tape and I just traced inside the circle and went down my card and then added some doodles and stuff. And this is so bold, I just used regular markers, some white dots, and then you can die cut it, and it just really was so much fun to do. And this was some Simon Says stamps from Simon Says Stamp, and the trick on this was I used a Dove blender pen. I don't know why it's called a pen, it's really a marker. They just call it a Dove blender. And when you take a colored pencil, you can do this instead of Gamsol. You just take, that's what I did here to fade them out, and you just go over the pencil and it brings the color down and makes it all nice and smooth together. So I used that on this card. This was for day three, and I think there's a video on this background. This was for day four. This is a Mama Elephant stamp. This is one of my favorites. And I noticed a lot of you are using the halo, which I love, knowing that I think you got the idea from me, but if not, no problem. So to get the best result is to take one or two shades of the halo. Let me just grab something really quick. So I like to use like BO2 and BOO. Sometimes I'll use two grays. And you take the marker, this can be pretty quick, and you do outline it with your darker color first. Then you take your lighter color and you go over that line. And see, it just kind of melts it, it blends it in. I need to have a piece of paper under this. And see how that blends it in? Now if you want it to fade even more into the background, you can take the lightest color, which would be BOOOO, and I can't find that fast. So C5, C4, and then sometimes I'll take something like this, and that's a sloppy line. So your darkest color, and then you take your medium color, which would be like a C4, and go over that line. Now I didn't plan this, that's wrong. Let's do a W2 over that. I like to mix the warm grays and the cool grays together. Let's see how that's softening that line. And then you take like a WO and you kind of fade that out into the background. And that's how you do that. That's how you do it quick. This does look better when you're taking your time, but I just wanted to show you. I hope that was on the camera. But when you do that halo, use two or three colors and it'll blend it out more. Okie doke. This was day 5. I love this little Amigo set from Mama Elephant. And you can see here I used 3 colors. I did the darkest color in the cracks and like right underneath. And then I did the second color, and then I did like a WOO, or this looks like a cool gray, a COO or something, to kind of fade it out. So give that a try. And I only did it on this side, and then I did the light color on this side. So something to think about. But I love this set. So that's really fun. Okay, so this was day 6, and I embossed this and cut out the letters. These letters are so much fun. You can do so much with them. They're from Lawn Fawn. What's inside? Little paper thing. Okay, but these I also made with the same letters. You can get so many different looks with these. So that was kind of like using your die cut days. I hope some of you have taken online card classes. I love their classes. This is a Lawn Fawn card, and they have some awesome balloon die cuts. And it's so fun to take a stamped image and to put it on one of the balloons and make that your focal point. Also, using a lighter color to stamp your background and then have the darker ink as the sentiment. So that was fun. That was day 7, and then some sequins. Now day 9, I used these Tim Holtz flowers. I love them. I can't wait to color them again. And unfortunately, my husband had his knees redone. He was in the hospital, so I didn't get to finish this. But what I wanted to show you here is Sandy Alneck showed me this technique. And what you do is you take a paper cup, and when she showed me, she used black ink, but on this I used distress ink, and you just ink up your cup. You can use different size cups, and then you stamp the cup, and then you have this fun ring. And then I colored it in and blended it out. You could also use some of the various ink to blend out the colors, and then just did some dots, just going like that with a complementary color. So that was a really fun thing. And then this is day 10. It's fun to make a background and just do a simple color. These are actually watercolors, but just do like such an easy, quick color, whatever medium you use, and then highlight that one flower. And then have a big, bold sentiment like this. This happens to be from Mama Elephant. This is day 11. Using a shape to pop your image is a really neat effect. And if you're using a Copic marker, use your brush strokes, your feathering, to do a quick color and just a detail on your petals, just for something fun and different. It's actually really quick to do, and the results are really neat. And then I just added some glossy accents in the center of that. This is day 12, and this was so much fun. You know, I just took a ruler and just traced some lines with the thick Sharpie marker, just going like that. And then I doodled, just very simple doodles. You could Zentangle it if you wanted. And then I die cut a Simon Says stamp butterfly and popped some color underneath that. And I like adding these little like fringes to things. So it was really fun. Well, of course I colored it too, but you can do that anywhere. Just take a piece of paper and a Sharpie marker, and then you can turn it into a card later. Now this is a Simon Says stamp. I love to, when I have time, to cut the jacket open to give it more dimension. But the tip on this was, I took some circle dies and cut them from, I did a video on this, from just some typing paper, and then I put a stencil over it and laid my ink down in these soft, beautiful Simon Says stamp colors. So I really want to do that again, and there is a video on that. So just sharing that. This is day 14. You can see here how I blended out that line to kind of get it to work into the background, and I even like feathered it a little bit more to give me more of an area. And I added glossy accents to his nostrils, and then enamel accents to his eyes, and then some dots. So this was really fun to make. This was from Ellen Hudson. And this was a doodle. This was day 15. I had got a gift bag, and it was such a neat design. So just doing some loops and some circles. I did a flipogram on this, but just some loops and circles. You can create some really fun designs and then pop out a die cut to turn it into a card. Die cuts, I love them. And I like to do a complementary color on the inside. So this was really fun, just using regular markers, adding some white gel pen and a really fine tip marker to add these little tiny details in here. And just, you know, you can talk on the phone, watch TV, and just kind of let your mind go and just add all these fun little details. This is one of my favorites. This happens to be a big one. But just lines and loops and circles, and it all comes together. You could even stamp the cup and then draw some loops around it and have a quick card. This is using that grid stencil from Simon Says Stamp and just hovering the distress ink in the corner and then pulling the color down. This was day 16, and you can see on the halo of here I used a warm gray closest to the bears, and then I did a cool gray kind of pushing that out into the card. These stamps just, they're so emotional to me. They're just, I've never seen a stamp where you just get some emotion from it. This is another Mama Elephant. I did a video on a different card that I gave away. But it was really fun to create a dark background with some bright colors. I love making stamped backgrounds, and I want to finish this. This was day 21, and my hot tip of this day was, I feel like I did a video on this, but anyways, I layered 2 stencils. First I layered this kind of loopy one in the background using distress ink, and then I put Wendy Vecchi's embossing paste, clear embossing paste on top. First I took this linear stencil and inked it up with distress ink, and then I put the embossing paste on top of that, so it gave it its color. But the tip is layering stencils. It's such a fun look, and I did that with 2 stencils on her dress, and I cut her arm out on here so she could be holding this. This is from Lawn Fawn W+9, so she could like hold the sentiment. So you can just cut out that and reposition it. Got it. Okay, and this was day 22, and a white colored pencil can be your friend, and just adding some white highlights to different areas really enhanced this image. And I used some brown on like these lighter colors, and it just kind of brought it out. And all these cards are on my blog, and different tips and steps along the way. This was the #2 card on Instagram that I got the most likes on, and I watercolored this whole thing. And this was inspired by Starbucks gift card. So someone asked me what stamps these were, and Starbucks has been really great. They let, sometimes if I love one of their cards, I'll ask, oh, how much is that? And they give it to you free. So they gave this to me, and I brought it home, and I tried to duplicate it. And this is all Lawn Fawn with Tim Holtz Distress Inks, which I've fallen in love with again. I love them. and just a strip of like pastel vellum. And so this was really easy and fun. And I have some extras to throw on a card. So that's always good to have. This is day 24 and some more Mama Elephant. And I just thought this was the best idea to have this photo bomb set. And this is some kind of basic coloring. And I cut 2 strips of paper and I did some gradient coloring with Copic markers. I wanted to kind of create a bulletin board like where you tuck the your snapshots in. So this was just a quick and simple, easy card. No big tricks on this. Day 27. This was what the flower looked like. It's just a basic flower. And I was talking to some friends. I was at a retreat and I wanted to color something in the grayscale. So I picked this flower. And it was really fun to color, but then I had to throw in some color. And I just started adding some lines around the petals, then some of my little fringes, and then some boxes. So that was just something fun to do that's different, and I'll be cutting this out around the highlights of the boxes and putting it on a card. So just kind of think out of the box a little bit and bring some new life into an old stamp. So this was day 28, and I did a flipogram on this. I watercolored this. I did some no line coloring. And then I did a video on the background on day 29. And I just kind of went with it. I used that grid stencil again and just watercolored through it, overlapping some, I masked out some boxes, and then just a really bold sentiment. Paper Smooches has some awesome, really bold sentiments. These are called bold buzzwords, and they're really thick and bold, and they stand out when you have kind of a busy card. So that was so much fun. I love using stencils. And then this is my last project, and I honestly, I don't love the card. Let's just take this off right now. I didn't have time on my last day. But I distressed 2 colors, but it really needs a stenciled background. So in the can, that's going to go, and this will go on another card. So this is a fun stamp from Penny Black, and these are actually both the same colors, but just blended differently. And I did a video on this, an unedited, very casual video. And then this, I see how there's like double lines. I colored those in and cut them out. So that was fun. I look forward to putting both these on a different card, and I'll share that on my blog. So thank you all so much for your love, support, and making the challenge, the 30-day coloring challenge, a huge success. That's a wrap. Remember this, it's empty, and the next coloring challenge is going to start on June 1st, the next 30-day coloring challenge. So I'm looking forward to that, and thank you again. I'll see you at TheDailyMarker.com, hopefully, and there'll be more giveaways coming up too. Thanks. Bye-bye.